Welcome to the Feminine Code channel, where we talk candidly about relationships, love, and marriage, and reigniting your femininity. So, what's the topic today? So, for most of these modern women, the word submission often comes to them as being controlled, intimidated, or dominated by their partner, like some form of oppressive slavery. That's why when that term submission comes up in conversation, especially among modern women, you see the whole body and language change, the outright defiant toward it, as if somebody has just absolutely just hurt their feelings, or if it's some form of just straight out domination. But what truly is submission? It comes down to respectful cooperation. Submission simply entails just that. It is the respect a woman has toward a man in a relationship or marriage. In most marriages and relationships, women aren't forced into submission. It is simply a mutually expressed and voluntary act. And what this does, being submissive, helps us to be less self-centered and allows us to consider the desires of others, particularly to our spouse or partner. Let me emphasize and point out, ladies, that submission has nothing to do with being weak. Rather, submission ends up leading to fairness and trust. Being submissive helps us to perfect the art of compromise. In relationships, it's about balance. Now, this whole notion of blindly agreeing to every need and this request of the overly rigid are two extremes that should absolutely be avoided. And it's so unfortunate that the world we live in has a different definition of submission, as it is now being defined as being weak or dominant over your partner. That definition pushes the whole idea of not needing your husband's permission to do anything. Women viewing submission as being only beneficial for the man. But surprisingly, submission has a benefit for the both of you. Submission being respectful cooperation, you show him that you trust him. Besides, marriage is supposed to be a union between two people who fully and completely trust each other. You will influence each other. In marriage, unity comes first. You have to be open to each other and allow yourselves to influence each other. Submission also eradicates unnecessary conflicts. You will not have to fight over unnecessary decision making or build up tension or arguments in the relationship. Submission will change turbulent marriage into smooth sailing and make communication between you two that much easier. With submission in the marriage or relationship, it will flourish if both parties stick to their respective roles, where the man plays the role to lead, protect, and provide, which is what you want, and as wife, to nurture, care, and support. When both spouses are fulfilling their respective role, guess what? The marriage flourishes. So we've mentioned the benefits of submission, but how exactly is this done? Here's some tips. Let him take the lead. It's important to let your husband be in charge. That way, you show him that you value him and you trust his judgment, and in turn, you will be relieved of some responsibility. Ultimately, what ends up happening is when you both feel good about yourselves, your marriage and relationship will thrive. Also, ask him for his opinion. Now, you know, of course, you can get things done or make some personal choices, but when it comes to bigger choices that affect the both of you, even if you know he might agree with whatever you choose, asking for his input will show him that you also value him. Think of his need. Try to see things from also his angle and understand what he needs whenever you can. Do not bring negative energy or criticize, but this doesn't mean you should never disagree with your husband, but try to express it respectively and constructively. It's better to discuss any issues you are experiencing with your husband rather than speak negatively of him behind his back. Now, above all, do not accept any abusive behavior. Now, submitting to your husband is not a bad thing, but only if it's done correctly. Now, do remember that your significant other should treat you with love and respect, not to take advantage of you. So, practically, being submissive should not make you feel intimidated or disrespected. So, we've just discussed the understanding the essence of submission in relationships. What are your thoughts? Let me know what you think and if this gave you more perspective on submission. We hope you enjoyed the topic today on the Feminine Code channel. We'll look forward to seeing you in our next video on the next topic.